What's up, Dunwoody? Welcome back to the podcast all about Dunwoody, Georgia. My name is Matt Weber. Show is brought to you by Dr. Brett Friedman with Village Orthodontics. And today I've got Mark Schwartz on the podcast, who a mutual friend of ours introduced me. And I want to talk about an event that you're putting on nearby in Buckhead, but you are a Dunwoody resident. So yeah, let's talk about you first, Mark. When did you move to Dunwoody?
I moved to Dunwoody now 13 years ago.
Okay.
When my youngest daughter graduated high school in East Cobb, and we wanted to be closer to my aging parents who lived in Dunwoody, and we've loved it. We've been here for the 13 years and just love it.
Yeah, it's about like me. And you're close by. I'm in Dunwoody North. You're right down the road.
Yeah. And one of the bonuses I will tell you about Dunwoody that we didn't realize when we bought the house, but we're right across the street from the Marcus Jewish Community Center, and all three of my grandchildren go to preschool there.
Oh, nice.
So it's nice to get phone calls from my daughters to say, would you mind picking up the kids? Would we mind?
Go across
Number
the
one,
street.
we're right across the street. Number two, of course we don't mind. So
yeah.
How's
that having that conversation with my mother-in-law earlier? I was like, thank you so much for always watching my kids. She was like, it is a grandparent's dream to be, close to your grandkids all the time. So
it really is. And when they start getting to be too much, it's so nice to give them back.
Yeah. Well, we see it as a pain for you guys, but like,
it's truly not. You're immersed in it. For us, it's just a luxury. So it's no pain at all.
Yeah, well, my in-laws are immersed in it too. They've got my kids a lot, actually.
It's great. It's a great club. People always said it's the one club you will join that is not overrated, and I have to agree with that. It's a great club. Being a grandparent's a great club to be in.
Nice. So what are some of your favorite things about the Dunwoody community? You've got the J there. What are some of your favorite restaurants?
Well, being gluten-free, I love Novo Cucina.
Okay.
They make great gluten-free products. Breadwinners right there is also a great place to eat. I was happy to see the Mexican Chipotle open up.
Yeah.
And, it's fast.
I've actually stopped there a few times recently.
Yeah, no, that's just great. It's consistent. Panera's great. We're blessed to have lots of good places nearby, and Dunwoody feels so much more like just a community than we felt in East Cobb.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot has changed over the past 6, 7, 8 years too, with the food. Because I remember everybody especially when I started that restaurant review group on Facebook, there's a lot of complaints about the food around here. And now I feel like there's a little bit of everything. I mean, there's some big box stuff like Chipotle, and there's, a lot of other stuff. I feel like we almost have too many choices at this point.
Yeah, the perimeter area with that new High Place?
High Street?
High Street that's opened up. I mean, we really do. We're very fortunate. It's become Jay Alexander's another great place. I'm meeting someone for lunch tomorrow at McKendrick's, which is always fabulous.
Yeah,
so we're pretty fortunate.
Yeah,
you don't have to go to Buckhead to have a good meal.
Right, and they don't really mingle with us either. Like when people come into town, they stay over by the perimeter, and they don't know about the Village and Jet Ferry and those areas. And so
this is true.
Yeah, they can stick with their cheesecake factories, and we can go to the good restaurants.
Well said.
Yes. All right. Well, let's talk about this event and where all this came from, Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, and what you guys are doing.
Sure. Well, first off, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease about 23 years ago, although I think I had it for much longer than that. The gold standard for diagnosis is colonoscopy, and that was my first colonoscopy. My practitioner suggested I get that based on symptoms I was exhibiting. So it's near and dear to my heart, and because it's something that impacts me. And then recently, my oldest daughter, who's 35, was recently diagnosed as well.
Oh, wow.
So this there's a genetic component to Crohn's disease. So I've been involved with the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, which is a national foundation that has offices around the country. And we're part of the Georgia office. We run kind of as our own little organizations within the broader foundation. And I am on the board of that foundation. I've been on the board a couple of years. And when I retired 3 years ago, I basically said I want to get involved in some philanthropic activities. And this was a natural one for me because, again, it impacts me. And I'm sorry?
It hits close to home.
It hits close to home, well said. And I've seen the great work that the foundation does. And now that I've gotten more immersed in it, I'm even more impressed. So I volunteered to be on what's called the Torch Gala. We have that annually. We're about to have our 34th annual Torch Gala. It's February 8th. It's a really fancy gala at the Intercontinental in Buckhead.
Fancy.
Hors d'oeuvres, alcohol, fancy dinner, dancing, after party. And it's frankly all about raising money. We have a terrific silent auction. We have a live auction with some really nice things. We hope to raise $800,000.
That I saw that number and I thought maybe that was the wrong number. That is a ton of money.
You know, it really is. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm so proud of that because to learn about what we can do best, I kind of stalk other Atlanta fundraising galas. Yeah. None of them raise $800,000.
I wouldn't think so.
In a night. So this is what we're blessed. We have a very generous following, and we really are able to bring in some great auction items, which certainly helps. But fingers crossed, we'll hit our $800,000 number.
Discover Dunwoody is dedicated to enhancing the visitor experience in our city. They actively seek feedback from visitors to improve services and ensure that they have a memorable stay here. From providing comprehensive guides on local attractions to making accommodations easy to find. So if you know somebody looking to stay in Dunwoody, remind them to check out discoverdunwoody.com/What's Up Dunwoody for hotel options. By booking through that link, you'll be supporting this show and helping to promote our local businesses. So, let's make sure that every visitor leaves with unforgettable memories of our beautiful city.
I co-chaired the event last year with a good friend, Neil Major, who is very active in the foundation and who suffers from ulcerative colitis. And so I co-chaired with him last year, and this year he said, "Do you mind running it alone?" I said, "No, I'm happy to do it." So it's been it's a lot of work, but it goes to a great cause. One of the things that certainly most of the money goes to fund research to help find a cure, and there's been an incredible amount of advances. In fact, every major development over the last 20 years that has come through research from Crohn's and colitis has started with foundation-oriented research money. So that is really great. But the other thing that they do, which is really sweet and touching because we volunteered there the last couple of years, is at Camp Twin Lakes in Winder, Georgia. They host a week-long camp called Camp Oasis, which is for children who suffer from Crohn's or colitis. Okay. And traditionally, these children cannot attend traditional sleepaway camps because of their medical needs.
Right.
And to see them show up at camp, all excited, many of whom go year after year and rekindle with their friends, it's so touching. The other touching thing is they show up with bags of medications that my 90-year-old father doesn't have. So it's touching that they're able to experience the joy of a camp, and the foundation helps support the camp as well. So there's so many other
people,
things.
I mean, they probably don't have any friends in their normal community
They
that
probably
they can
don't.
share that with, like this might be the one time of year that they're around people like them. And so that's great.
You're 100% right. When I was there, there's a little thing they do. They name their bellies, so
Yeah.
it becomes a persona that they talk about with each other. And it was just so sweet to see the kids. You're 100%. The connection is just fabulous. So,
That's awesome.
so the gala does great work. When my daughter was recently diagnosed, and again, I'm fully doubling down on my commitment to the foundation because it's a genetic component and I don't want my grandkids to have to live with this disease.
Yeah.
So when my daughter was diagnosed, I called the foundation and said, do we have any materials or anything that can tell my daughter, okay, I have Crohn's, now what? And they have so many great online resources and materials and support groups that just make it so much easier for people. I mean, it's kind of a devastating diagnosis. So it's not the sexiest disease in the world, but it's one that, is, it can be real debilitating. So I'm so impressed with what the foundation does, and I'm so looking forward to the gala and hope we can achieve our $800,000 objective.
That's awesome. It's a lot of work.
It truly is, but I tell you what makes it worthwhile is there's so many generous. So part of the thing, besides buying tickets or tables, is going up to vendors and asking them if they will donate for their silent auction. And there's not, over the past 6 months, a restaurant that I've gone to where at the end of the meal, I've asked to speak to a manager to get a donation. And most of the people say yes. It just touches you that people are so lovely. I know you recently did a podcast with NFA Burger, and Billy Kramer suffers from colitis. So he was very generous in what he's donated. But you see that across the community, and it makes it really worthwhile.
Yeah, when I go around asking for donations from people, a lot of times I think, oh, it's because it's me that I'm friends with this person, but it is like my wife, she goes around and gets the same thing. Like whenever she's raising money for Chestnut, and everybody is willing to give around here.
People it's wonderful. A very generous, supportive community. And like I say, it's not the sexiest disease. It's not, but one of every 100 people suffer from an inflammatory bowel disease. So
I was going to say, and I feel like everybody knows somebody that has one of those,
And the advances have just been incredible. I mean, you can't watch TV anymore without every 30 minutes seeing a commercial for one of the new biologics for Crohn's or colitis. So the advances have just been, but we're not going to rest until there's a cure. And they are making dramatic advances in that regard. So.
Yeah. And who did you start this with? Who you said Neil? He was one of your buddies?
Yeah. So actually, there's a story circulating right now on social media. Me and two buddies went to the University of Georgia and were in a fraternity called AE Pi. And we were pledge brothers in the class of 83. And we didn't know each other prior to going to UGA. The three of us all have Crohn's or colitis. Neil Major, David Rones, and myself. So all of us over the last several years have been part of this committee, the host committee for the Crohn's and Colitis Torch Gala. Neil has been very active for probably the last 15 years. He recruited me into it when I retired, which I was happy to do. And David Rones, the third buddy who lives up in Cobb County, has joined as well. Both of those have had multiple surgeries to deal with their medical conditions. I've been blessed. Legal drugs have been able to cure my symptoms. So,
well, good.
But it is nice.
I saw that article, so I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a nice story because we're bonded anyway, but to
Yeah.
also bond over our, work for the foundation, as well as to just talk about, some of our ailments and surgeries in their cases, or medications we're taking, or, hey, did you see this advance that just came out as a result of some of the work the foundation is doing? It really ties us together. And to my knowledge, I'm the first to have a child that's been diagnosed. I hope that doesn't happen in their case, but because it is, again, such a strong genetic component, they're motivated too. They don't want their children or grandchildren to have to suffer from this either. So,
yeah.
But the game is a great night. A great night. A lot of Dunwoody people attend. We have.
What are some of the cool stuff you've given away over the years? Like what are some cool auction? What are the cool auction stuff that you've done over the years?
Well, like just today, I actually picked up, I don't know if you know the artist, Steve Penley, who's well regarded for his University of Georgia stuff.
Okay. So that's one of the very few artists I actually do know, because
Penley,
my dad has a Georgia Bulldog in the basement. That's
right.
Like that. That's
so
funny.
Penley, one of the people who works for Penley, her daughter has Crohn, so he was generous enough to. We have a local liquor store that donates a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle, which is very popular. We have a cruise line called Explorer Cruise Lines, which is a luxury cruise line, which is donating a week-long cruise to the Caribbean. We have the Assembly Studios, which opened in Chambly. We have a behind-the-scenes tour of Assembly Studios. I donated my 4 Masters tickets this year, which I think was very.
It's a big sacrifice right there.
That's how much I believe in the cause.
Well, I'm starting to see where this $800,000 is coming from.
So we have some really fabulous, and a lot of the stuff is experiential. That stuff is really, so we have a behind-the-scenes tour of the University of Georgia Athletic Association, where you can see all their weight room facilities and locker room facilities. So these are the kind of things that are really highly valued. And you're right, people might not otherwise spend, a few $1,000s on a behind-the-scenes tour, but they would give money to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation anyway. So
that's what they're there for.
Some benefit out of it. So
absolutely.
Restaurants all over town are very generous. So we have a lot of good things.
Nice. Well, very cool. What's the, how do people find out more about it? Is there a website?
Yeah, you can go to torchgala, one word, .org, torchgala.org. We still have some seats and tables available. We're also always looking for great auction items. Out of the last year, just out of some press and social media that we're doing, such as this, we had a gentleman who was a retired attorney, no Crohn's or colitis, but was so impressed with the work we're doing that he donated a week of his Ritz-Carlton luxury residence in Vail for a ski weekend. So, people are just so great and generous. So if anyone has anything, they can go to the torchgala.org. They can see how to contact me or the foundation. And we hope to sell out. February 8th, Intercontinental in Buckhead. They're also very generous with us as well.
Yeah.
I did the tasting a couple of weeks ago for the meal. It's going to be just superb.
Nice.
Yeah, and regardless if they can come to the gala or support as well, reach out to the local chapter of the Georgia Crohn's and Colitis Foundation if there's anything they need in support of, if they're a caretaker or someone who was recently diagnosed. We have so many resources available to caretakers as well as individuals affected.
Well, nice talking to you. And
likewise.
Good luck
meeting you.
In a couple weeks.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it.